Plot Twist Books. Okay. We're here at Plot Twist Books today, delivering a custom-made cash wrap for them.
The first thing we had to do was cut the plywood for the carcass. For this build, we are using 3/4 inch sanded plywood and cutting a front panel at 4 feet by 3 feet, a bottom panel at 4 feet by 2 feet, and side panels at 2 feet by 3 feet. We used our handy track saw to line up the cuts and make sure they were straight and even. At the table saw, we cut 1.5 inch for the ends of the bottoms and for the center shelves. We used the leftover scrap plywood to rip some support braces for the bottom shelf, middle shelf, and countertop. We began assembling the carcass by securing the shelf braces in the middle of the sideboards with glue and trim nails. We then glued and nailed the side panels to the front panel. Turning the carcass on its front, we began securing the braces for the bottom shelf. We flipped the box right side up and secured both the bottom shelf and the center shelf. We spread a bit of glue on a separate strip and secured it to the top inner portion of the box. We also secured it with some pocket screws. We did the same to the front. This would serve as the support for the countertop. With the carcass finished, we would set it aside for the moment and begin cutting trim. First, we cut some 3/4 inch by 3 inch trim boards for the corners. We jointed each edge on our grizzly joiner, then set our table saw to a 45-degree angle to cut the mitered edges. We then secured each corner with a bit of wood glue and some nails. We clamped a couple of the corners for good measure. With the corner trim in place, we measured and cut the bottom trim pieces and began attaching them. Next came the shiplap. To make our cuts, we secured a 2x4 to the counter with a clamp to make a quick stop block and ensure every cut was exactly the same length. We drew a line down the center and began gluing and nailing the shiplap in place. Once all 3 sides were finished, we cut a piece of trim for the top and secured it as well. We did this to all 3 sides. For the face plates on the front, we used a combination of nails and pocket screws on the lower back side of each. Next came the showstopper, the Live Edge Cherry Top. We had some 2-inch thick cherry in the shop and decided to glue up 3 panels, leaving the live edge on the front. We cut each to length and rough cut the width with our table saw. We then moved to the joiner again to edge and face one side. A quick trip to the planer and we could clean each one up and ensure they were all a uniform thickness. Took several shallow passes for each board. We then clamped the live edge piece to our work table so we could clean it up a bit with a draw knife. Using some wood glue and several clamps, we got the tabletop assembled. Anytime we're working with a larger counter or tabletop, we always make sure to add small clamps to each end, right on the seam. That way they are sure to line up. We also flip a few clamps upside down to equalize the pressure and make sure there's no buckling. To secure the top, we decided to cut grooves and use some pan head bolts so the top could be free to expand or contract if needed. This piece is going right by the front door inside of a bookstore located in a pretty old house, so we weren't exactly sure what the conditions would be like year-round. We sanded the top to 240 grit. We also made a custom plaque with the store logo on it and fixed it to the front of the cabinet. By this time, we had already painted the front white. We turned the box on the front and clamped the top in place so we could secure it with bolts. We also used pocket screws in every corner on each side. Next came our favorite part. We use Rubio monocoat to seal the top. This stuff makes the cherry just come alive. All you have to do is squeegee it on, rub it in, and then wait a few minutes to buff it out. It's so simple. And with that, we have our finished counter. Thanks so much for watching. Please like our video, leave us a comment, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel.